Gang culture is growing in Britain. Scratch that, gang culture is at this precise moment considered rife, meaning that it is in an actual epidemic. You see new sets pop up in every city, in every town, in every borough, and the fact that popular culture entices young people to claim a postcode that does absolutely nothing for you, just offers nothing but heartache, loss or death. This illusion on social media that illicit gains will bring you a flashy lifestyle is a facade. I'm telling you now, do not get sucked into the sham, unless you want to potentially end up like these two teenagers that were killed at a house party. Roughly a year ago, two teenagers who had links to the M4 gang were slaughtered at a house party in the Emerson Valley area of Milton Keynes for nothing more than bragging rights. I use the word slaughtered due to the fact that one of the teenagers, 17-year-old Ben Gillham, was stabbed in a living room right in front of partygoers. This was also the location where he was pronounced dead. Police described the aftermath as a bloodbath. He was stabbed not once or twice, but 6 times. The attack was premeditated, vengeful, and acted out on intention to cause death. As for his mate, Ansah, his unfortunate demise was much crueler. Again, these were 17-year-old children. That means they were old enough to believe they were grown, but young enough to be naive to the fundamental law of life. There's always consequences to your actions. 17-year-old Ben Gillham and Ansah, who was rumoured to be either associates, friends or members of the M4 gang, and were the proprietors of a targeted attack. The B3 gang in West Betchley, named after the MK3 postcode, were rivals of the M4 gang, and had received a tip-off that the two victims were going to be at a house party, and aligning their potential victims, the B3 gang were hell-bent on blood. Again, this was a targeted attack. The jury was told the defendants, 22-year-old Clayton Barker, 22-year-old Charlie Chandler, 23-year-old Earl Bevans, and 2 other teenagers who could not be named for legal reasons, had stormed through the house in search of the victims, set their sights on 4 people, and without warning began to attack indiscriminately. Prosecutors said the ferocious attack could only be described as violent and immediate, the victims having little or no time to react or little chance to even protect themselves. It has to be pointed out that the defendants could not see beyond their actual attack. Yes, they covered their faces, but to carry out such a vengeful attack right in front of partygoers, it limited the amount of suspects. 2 others were stabbed and left with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. As I previously said, Ansah got the worst of the brunt. In the midst of the carnage, his instinct was to get out and make a run for it. However, Dom was chased down. Jurors were told while Dom ran, he had circled back round to the street in Ansah Valley, but had slipped. This would prove a fatal mistake. The 2 defendants pounced on him like a prize, and they hacked at him, not stabbed him. The jury was told they sliced at Dom and hacked away at his body to ensure they inflicted maximum damage. Part of the reason of the attack has been suggested that in a previous incident, one of the 17-year-old defendants was attacked and forced to be stripped naked and made to be taunted in the woodlanded area. The shameful attack was recorded and passed around on social media for everybody to see. I'm 90% sure neither Ben nor Dom could imagine being associated with the quote-unquote M3 gang would be their demise. However, it does highlight the situation that's going on. It goes to show you that you need to think about your actions before you do something stupid. Even if the 2 17-year-olds, Dom or Ben, were not the people that took part in the group that stripped the young defendant when he was 14 years old, you can still get sucked into the war by being a third party to it. This woodland strip taunt, or whatever you want to call it, was 3 years old. By that time, everybody should have moved on. But that means, for 3 years, the teenage defendant has sat there and stewed on his revenge, and that meant casualties could potentially become a prize. I'm not saying Ben or Dom weren't responsible for the stripping the kid down. What I am saying is, though, however, these kids cannot compute the butterfly effect. They do not have the foresight to understand retaliation is a very tangible thing, and that's what led to their death. Post-mortem on Ben Gillham reveals that he suffered serious injuries, including a 20cm deep wound to the heart. As for Dom, it was revealed he had 47 injuries and died 3 hours later after arriving in the hospital. All 5 men were found guilty of murder by the court and will face sentencing next year. Condolences to the 2 17-year-olds. Safe.